Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is going on, folks? It is game day, playoff game 3 in Denver tonight between the Jets and Avs. The positive vibes are flowing. Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Big show today, getting you ready for the weekend. Game 3 tonight, game 4 Sunday afternoon. We are going to welcome in and break it down with Brandon Rewucki, Scott Billeck as well. And we'll head to Denver in the second hour and welcome in my pal Will Petersen from denversports.com. Obviously we'll focus in on the Jets and Avs. Would love to get into the Nuggets being the just owning LeBron and the Lakers. But I think if we veer off any hockey topics with Will, we'll get to last night's NFL draft, which was crazy. Broncos picking Bo Nix 12th overall, the 6th quarterback that went. I'm still shaking my head about the Michael Penix pick by the Falcons. I know a lot of happy Vikings fans who got J.J. McCarthy at 10 and then moved up to get Dallas Turner, one of the top defensive players. But we won't spend too much time. We'll maybe do a recap at some point, of the landscape after the entire draft this weekend, next week, depending on downtime with the series between the Jets and Avs. But that's what it's all about tonight. We had a couple games last night in the NHL, 4 this evening, 4 tomorrow. So a very, very busy weekend in the National Hockey League. But our focus, as usual, is on the Winnipeg Jets. Coming up, we will hear from Rick Bowness, Nate Schmidt getting back into the lineup. He'll be fired up and going to be speaking to that. So it is all coming up over the next couple hours. It's Friday. We will do a marble race. And be sure to stick around for marbles, as most of you faithfully do. And right when we are finished, Sarah Orlesky and Jamie Thomas are going to fire up Ground Control live. And we will do a big-time WST raid in to see Jamie and Sarah. So for those of you that are with us on YouTube, stick around for the marble race and afterwards, and we'll do a big-time raid of our friends over at the Jets Ground Control. Listen, just before we bring in Michael Remis, shout out to everybody listening on the podcast. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Welcome to everybody in YouTube. I see people are fired up for the game tonight. What's going on, everyone? And, of course, a big shout-out and thanks to the sponsors that make this show happen every day. Our newest sponsor, the gang at Rolly's Transfer, the great people at Princess Auto, the Winnipeg Jets, Little Brown Jug, Consolidated Supply, Wallace & Wallace, Canadian Club, Modern Man Barbershop, Manitoba Battery, Little Brown Jug, F Apparel, Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge, Breezy Bend, Royal Sports, Boston Pizza, and of course we'll get to a why not question of the day for our friends at Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Michael Remis, what's going on?
I'm feeling good. Us ready. We've washed away the stench, I don't know if it was stench, but of game 2. We've moved on. Game 3 tonight. The countdown is on. 9 p.m. Get your coffee, get your energy drink, do your pregame rituals. Looking ahead, looking forward to seeing what we get from the Jets on the road against Colorado, and I guess that's about it, really. I'm happy to see everyone in chat. What's going on? And I will give the heads up. We're giving away street party tickets to game 5. So go to our website, winnipegsportstalk.com/contest. And Angie says, what time do you think the game on Tuesday? So there's no time for that game Tuesday. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, listen, I think it's likely 8:30, 8:45. But I will say this. there would be a chance that this game might be earlier, but the Canes need to win on Sunday, to get that done. As of right now, when you look at the Tuesday schedule, I believe, I'm just going to pull this up here. I believe the Leafs and Bruins are going off at 6. And so today, this is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So the Leafs and Bruins are scheduled for 6. That's in. The Predators and Canucks are playing at 9. That's done. If the Canes and Islanders play, that game will be a 6:30 game, and that'll likely force the Jets to be 8:30. If that game is not played, and I think that's the reason why we don't have a time yet for this game, I think there's a chance it might be earlier. Now, whether that means 8, 7:30, 7, not sure. But if you're hoping that the game is not at 8:45, you'll be cheering for the Carolina Hurricanes to sweep the Islanders after their win last night. And to be honest, Remis, I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening. The Islanders down to their last out against the Carolina Hurricanes, and I don't think any of us should be surprised.
No, I mean, again, the Islanders and Capitals, two teams, negative goal differential on the season. That's not going to bode well when you're playing, some of these top teams. So we knew Carolina very strong. They won last night 3-2. A bit surprised the Lightning couldn't get one win in 3 games. They're now down 3-0. But Florida, very good. I think Florida or Carolina would have been my picks for the final. I did pick Carolina to win. But I think they're all very good teams. And there was definitely a more tiered teams in the East. Then in the West, well, it's like, shit, everyone's really good. And whatever matchup you're going to get, it's going to suck because they're going to be it's going to be hard and they're going to be good teams. So we'll get another good look at Jets Avalanche tonight.
The East playoffs could be done on Tuesday.
I mean, all those series sucked. Like Rangers, Capitals. Like Capitals aren't good. What's the other one? Florida. Yeah, Florida's up 3-0. And which one am I missing? The Leafs. I guess we'll have to see what happens with the Leafs and Bruins. It sounds like William Nylander will be back Saturday, but they could take a 3-1 lead, and that one's on the ropes. In the West, a bit closer. A couple games tonight. Rangers look take a 3-0 lead. Canucks Preds are tied 1-1, and Canucks don't have Demko. Sounds like it's going to be a while till he's back. Jets Avalanche at 9 and Oilers Kings at 9:30 tonight. And that series could go 6 games for the Oilers to win. So we'll see. Although Kings have something to say after winning Game 2 in overtime. So I think the West series is much closer than all the East.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that. Except, of course, for Vegas and Dallas. And
oh yeah,
I was just chopping it up with Dusty in the lock shop, talking about the games over the weekend and looking at the odds and putting together a couple parlays for the Coolbet exclusives. And the one thing that kind of stands out to me, and it's funny, the odds for the games tomorrow are really, really tight. Dallas is even money. Vegas is a slight favorite at -117 tomorrow, and you have to think that Dallas goes in there knowing that they can definitely hang with the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, there's no question about that. But desperation should bring out the best in a team like Dallas. And they know, I think there's basically no tomorrow if they go down 3-0 to the Vegas Golden Knights. So that should be a heck of a game. Of course, we mentioned that, you got the Leafs and Bruins playing tomorrow. That'll be the usual, I guess, a 7:00 start tomorrow. And then, we could see the Lightning. The Lightning, I thought Florida would win this series. I think Florida's the better team. But I will admit, I'm a little disappointed that Tampa hasn't been able to muster up at least a win so far and make a series. I did not think that this had the chance of going 4 or 5, but that's exactly the situation the Lightning find themselves in after last night.
Yeah, Paul Maurice has got the Panthers playing big boy, physical hockey. They're solid, all 3 pairs of defense.
Group of men.
Yeah, it's just got a bunch of men out there ready to go through the grinder for each other and grind one out here. So Look, they got playoff Matthew Tkachuk, Carter Verhey. They got a really good team, and they got Bobrovsky playing. Used to talk about how it was like the worst contract in the NHL. No one's saying that anymore. So they were in the Cup final last year, and they're back, ready to take it on this year. 3-0 over Tampa, who's kind of. This is just what happens. Like you saw it with Detroit, you saw it Chicago. You haven't really seen it with Boston, Pittsburgh. These are teams that had, won Stanley Cups in the 2010s and had a sustained stretch for a long time. And eventually it comes to an end. Now, I don't think the Lightning, they're in the playoffs. They're not like Pittsburgh, but they're just not that dominant team that they were when they were winning Stanley Cups.
Well, let's get back to the Jets because they had the 2 days off. And as I mentioned yesterday, I think just because of how wild those games were, the emotions of playing at home, the disappointment of the way Game 2 got away from Winnipeg, I think that extra day will be a benefit. I guess we'll see. We'll see tonight, but a benefit to the Winnipeg Jets. They did get a chance to practice yesterday, right after we talked with Murat Atesh. And, and we need to give a little bit of dap to Murat, because when I asked him, does he anticipate any lineup changes, he said not up front, but did suggest that maybe it might be a prudent move to get Nate Schmidt back in and move Dylan Samberg from the right side on his off wing back to the left side. And seemingly that is exactly what's happening. And I think it was Liz Hood who was talking with Nick Lyman on Top Line. I'll give her props for this. I thought this is a great, listen, the bringing Schmidt in for Stanley, many people will think that's a good move. You can use Stanley's physicality at times, but I think there's other things the Jets are missing. And certainly Schmidt and his ability to move the puck, a little more offensive, getting shots on net, all those things I think will be welcome. But don't underestimate the trade, if you will, of Samberg moving from his off wing back to the left side where he's most comfortable and playing with the guy that he's played with for the majority of the year. Because I think Samberg at times, has struggled a little bit with the move. The puck handling hasn't been great. There have been some giveaways. And I think a lot of it is the comfort level that he's not afforded playing on that side. So I know Nate Schmidt's going to bring a ton of energy into the lineup tonight, a lot of positivity. He'll be a great guy on the bench. You just hope that he can make a difference on the ice right now and also help Dylan Samberg raise his level of play because we know with the Avalanche having this last change, it doesn't matter where you are in the lineup, you're probably going to see a fair dose of Nate McKinnon at some point.
Yeah, I know for me, like when I play defense in my low-level hockey that's not NHL, like playing on the off wing is D. It's tough. You're facing the wall instead of facing the middle of the ice, and you're on your backhand a lot more. And for Samberg, moving to your natural side, these guys want to move the puck quickly. Certainly would be a benefit for him. And I think they've played together all year, these two guys, and they have this chemistry that I think showed very well during the regular season. And we know Nate Schmidt, he's a fast puck mover, and Logan Stanley likes certain elements he brings, but I think Nate will be able to move it just a bit more quickly. And we've seen how much pressure this Avalanche forecheck has put on them, and they have caused a number of turnovers, and it's been tough for them to get out of their own zone. So they're really focused on getting out quickly, moving the puck quickly. And Nate Schmidt, they think he can help him do that on the third pair. And, no other changes as well. And the other topic is, Ehlers, Monahan, Toffoli, they don't have any goals from any of those guys. And last time they played, those guys were pretty good. Last time they played in Denver, those guys were pretty good in that 7-0 win. And I think we're due for something from that line if the Jets want to have some success in this series.
Well, you're exactly right. I think the Lowry line has been everything they could have asked for going up against McKinnon. The fourth line has scored big goals in both games. Connor and Scheifele and Velarde have been effective. They need to get production from that second line. You can't beat a team as good as the Avalanche if you're not getting positive performances from most of your players. And listen, I know it's easier said than done, and we are just talking about 2 games. But the playoffs can be over quickly if you get into a bit of a slump. And I have no doubt Ehlers will be leading the way. Tyler Toffoli is a guy you can not notice him for a while, and the next thing you know, the puck's on his stick and in the back of the net. And I think Sean Monahan as well. Monahan, particularly in game number 1, had some good chances. But, I mean, this is the reason why the Winnipeg Jets acquired these guys. Playoff time, play in the top 6, generate offense, make it happen. And that is the challenge on them tonight. Here, let's hear from Nate Schmidt, because Schmidt's back in the lineup tonight. He spoke earlier and talked about the series so far, watching it, and his excitement to get in and be a part of the fight.
I'm not sure if I could say that the first game was drunk, or on drugs, but it felt like it. I was watching it, and it was something. Yeah, you know what? As game 3 approaches, it turns into best of 5, and I mean, still in a series, this road game is going to be a matchup test for our guys. Things that we've played in games 1 and 2 that are available to us in games 3 and 4 are going to be put to the test as well. And yeah, it's exciting to be a part of a series that has so much explosiveness, so much excitement that's been around the game, and you know it should be a good one.
Seeing his excitement and that smile on his face, you can't help but feel good for Nate. I know much has been made of the ticket that he's got. Certainly gets paid a lot of money, and that's a different conversation. But he's a very easy guy to pull for. Had a very, very solid season in a bounce-back way playing with Dylan Samberg, and we talked about their defensive metrics all year long. Reem, they're going to need that energy, that excitement from Nate Schmidt, and hopefully some very solid defensive play as he and his partner Dylan Samberg demonstrated for the majority of the regular season.
Yeah, I loved his description of game 1. Which one was it, Huss? Was it drunk or was it on drugs? But I mean, these guys, I think they have that Minnesota connection there on the third pair. And yeah, he maybe makes a lot of money, but for his role, he's been pretty solid, I think, as the third pair D. So we'll see them go in, see how it goes. And I agree, he's a good guy. I think that's why they got him when they did. Their room needed that boost of energy. He's certainly given it to them, and we'll see if he can, take it onto the ice today and what kind of impact he can make there with Dylan Samberg. Schmidt on the right, Samberg on the left.
Well, let's hear just one more clip from Schmitty on being back alongside his pal Slammy.
Yeah, I think even the last little bit here, he's still hearing my voice in his ear, even when I wasn't there. No, I think that's a crucial part of an AD pair. That has to be the foundation, and for him and I believe we have laid those bricks, and now it's time to reap the rewards.
All right, let's reap some rewards. Nate Schmidt back in with Dylan Samberg today on the third pairing. No other changes for the Jets, as you saw Remis lay it out. But for those of you on the pod, Scheifele with Connor and Velarde, Monahan with Ehlers and Toffoli, Lowry with Niederreiter and Appleton, and Nemetsnikov with Iafallo and the Gus Bus. Let's hear from Bones. He talked about the move to bring Nate Schmidt in. Here is Bones on the change on the third pairing and how Schmitty can help the Jets in Game 3.
Yeah, that right side for a left-hander, that's a tough position. You get stuck in the corner, and the way they forecheck, and the way they rim the puck in, it's hard for a lefty going back into that right corner. We do want to move the puck a little quicker. We still played a little too slow for our liking last game. So yeah, moving the puck quicker and playing north a lot faster game is going to help us for sure.
All right, Bones, kind of echoing what we've just been discussing with the move and maybe making it a little simpler for Dylan Samberg. Of course, Schmitty, a lefty as well, but a guy that's played almost exclusively on the right side. So not as much of a move or a change of scenery for Nate Schmidt. Bones also talked about what they can expect going into Game 3.
Yeah, it'll look different early, for sure. Then as the game goes on, the score dictates some of those matchups as well, right? So, listen, I don't think anyone expected this series to go 4 straight for either side. So here we are in Game 3, where it's 1-1. We know we have to win another game in this rink, but the matchup's probably a little different as the game goes on. Again, depending on the score and how each team is playing. Face-offs in either our zone or their zone, that changes it as well. We'll make changes depending on that, as will Jared.
All right, so there's Rick Bowness on the expectations going into Game 3. You know what? I'll say this, Reem, and you kind of felt the good vibes from Nate Schmidt. As much as this series is tied, both teams I think feel that they could be up 2-0, and both teams should realize there's a potential they could be down 0-2. So here we are with a best of 5. And from a Jets perspective, they have to have some good feelings coming into Denver, considering the 4-2 win earlier in the season and the 7-0 shellacking they put on the Avalanche in that building 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know Colorado's a great home team. The Jets have had success. The series is pretty close. Projections coming in. I think this was probably the tightest series. And I saw Dom from The Athletic had 51-49 Jets after the Juan injury news came out. So, again, really close, really tight. Jets finish on a couple of those shots. Maybe don't hit the posts. Maybe we're saying a different thing, but hey, it's 1-1. They still got a great chance. I know they are underdogs in tonight's game, but they've played well there on the road, and I think ready to make it up. So we definitely haven't seen them at their best. We haven't seen the Jets team that was giving up 3 or less for 30 whatever straight games that we hung a banner for. No. They've given up 5 average in 2 games.
And hey, they lost their first game in April in Game 2. I mean, they had been very good coming into that. Again, Game 1, as Nate Schmidt just said, was drunk. But there's the potential that they can, get back. And listen, we'll get to Hellebuck in a minute, but he's going to be a big, big part of this as well. I did see somebody in chat asking about the Moose, and hey, we'll pour one out for the Moose. Great comeback season after that extended losing streak to begin the new year, battling back to make it into the playoffs. Unfortunately, that's all she wrote. A 2-0 shutout loss to the Texas Stars means it is next year time for the Manitoba Moose, which does bring up the possibility of some additions to the traveling crew, at least with Black Aces. We'll kind of find out a little bit more on that, I'd imagine, later on today. After the Jets skate, if there's any updates on that. But Bones also talked, I mean, listen, there's a lot of places I think the Jets can get better, but they do need more from line 2.
Yeah, we spoke to them today. We'll go over a couple of things with them in the morning with video, and specific to that line and specific to a couple of individuals. Yeah, they know they can give us more, and we're going to need more, especially in here. Yes, with the changes in the matchups as you talked about, but they're 3 pros. They've been around, and they know they can give us more.
All right, there's some Bones. And, he talked a little bit more about that line. And here's Bones on what the Toffoli, Ehlers, Monahan line looks like when they're really going.
Well, usually when they're clicking, their ability to move the puck and read off of each other. Right now, I find that they're getting bogged down a little bit. They're getting too much in the middle. When you get too much, a couple forwards in the middle, you limit your options. So we want them to use the width of the ice a little bit better. Sean's a very smart player. He's a great passer of the puck, but if he's got one of the guys right beside him, you're losing an option. So we'd like them to spread it out a little bit more. And with Nick's speed and Tyler's hands and hockey sense, that's when it was working. When we first put them together, that's what they were doing, just using the width of the ice, hanging on the puck and making plays. Right now, I find them bumping into each other a couple of times in the neutral zone, and then again, you're limiting your options.
Jets head coach Rick Bowness from earlier, and speaking of the neutral zone, the ability to get through the neutral zone and gain zone time and possession has been challenging at times for the Jets. And Bones talked about the need to use their speed and skill to get through the neutral zone a little more efficiently.
We have to use the ice a little bit better. We have to move the puck to our D a lot quicker. We don't want to see our forwards skating the puck up there. All that does is bring all the defenders up. We want to move the puck up to the D quicker and get up into that open ice and go from there. So, listen, the way they defend, when we get slow, we get bogged down in the corners. We're trying to get pucks out of the corner is what we're trying to do and use that open ice a little bit better. But when you get it, don't skate up there because, again, all you're doing is bringing people up to you. Pass it quick, and then the D will have a little bit more time to make plays.
We've talked a lot about Kyle Connor, and certainly, he had an extended slump towards the end of the season, kind of snapped out of it late, and, has shown not only, the scoring touch, albeit, that post still haunts a lot of people in game 2. What could have been if that one was just a little more inside and ended up in the net. But what's really been impressive is, just how tenacious he's been on the back check and committed to doing everything they can to keep the puck out of their own net. Bones was asked about Kyle Connor stepping up in the playoffs so far.
He's very confident, but I always show a lot of good back-checking clips, and I told him the other day, one of our best back-checking forwards we have right now because of his speed. He forces in. When he's back-checking like that, our D have much better gaps because he's putting a lot of pressure on the puck yard. So I know he's doing a great job offensively, but watch what he's doing defensively. He's made huge improvements in that area.
Is he playing harder?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, without the puck. He wants it back. But you watch him on the back check, the pressure that he puts on people that he didn't do before. He's become a much better two-way player.
All right, there's Rick Bowness on Kyle Connor. And listen, you need the guy to score, Reem, but, with the issues that line had defensively at times, it certainly does bode well for the Jets' chances to see Kyle Connor playing with the intensity that he's had when the team does not have the puck. And there have been some big-time back checks and it makes sense. I mean, he certainly has world-class speed. He's been using it in both directions for a better 200-foot game.
Yeah, you saw his play behind the net on the Scheifele goal in game 1. I mean, I know he took a penalty, but just him trying to get on Cale Makar and try to force a play there before that high stick. He's got good speed, and he's all over the ice. So, yeah, you're going to need a big performance from the top line as usual. And Kyle Connor, maybe took him a bit, to get back all the way 100% from the knee injury, but certainly made an impact here in the first 2 games in that line. I think when they've been on the ice, they've been the team's best chance to score. They're going to need more of that from some other guys too, but those guys have been pretty good in games 1 and 2.
Well, let's get one more from Bones on the game. And listen, I don't know about you. I have spent some moments over the last couple of days trying to sleep, thinking about Nate McKinnon and just how to stop the guy. I imagine the coaches have been too. Here's Bones on defending the superstar of the Avalanche, or one of them.
Yeah, we want to get on top of him quicker. We don't want him skating up. We don't want them. If we can get him in the corner and keep him in there, we're a lot happier. He gets up in that top ice. How do you stop him? Like no one does. He's just so quick. You don't know when he's going to stop and turn and when he's going to cut in or where he's going to go. You don't know, and he is so quick. So by the time you've reacted, he's gained some extra ice for himself. He's gained some extra time to make plays. But you can't really anticipate what he's doing because he's reading off of you. And if you take away one thing, he's going the other way. So it's you can anticipate all you want, but he is so quick to find that little extra room and so quick to move the puck from there when you give him that time, that the more we can keep him in the corner, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah, amen to that, Bones. By the way, shout out to everyone that's here. If you're new, welcome. We are live Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already, please. And hit the thumbs up as well. And make sure to stick around. Every Friday, we do a fun marble race at the end of the program. You can win an exclusive WST hoodie. And then we'll actually be sending everybody over to a special edition of Jets Ground Control with Sarah Orlesky and Jamie Thomas. So it should be a good one. Rewucki's coming up. I may be stressed, and all of you are stressed about the playoffs. Few things may be more stressed than your favorite team going at it in the Stanley Cup playoffs. One of those things, moving. And if you are planning a move, take a lot of the worry out by utilizing the most trusted name in moving, Rollies Transfer. Family owned for over 60 years in Winnipeg, and the most well-connected movers as well. They do a lot of logistics business throughout southern Manitoba, which means they have the best routes, the most frequent trips out there, which means flexible times and the best rates for you. And at the end of the day, what your movers are taking care of is your most prized and precious possessions. So do it with the most trusted name in moving, Rollies Transfer. Best way to do it, check out their new website. It's awesome. Remis has it up on the screen right now. And if you see up in the top right corner, very simple, request a quote, give them the details. They'll have a quick turnaround for you and can help you with any questions as it pertains to the move. For your next move, take the stress out of it with the most trusted name in moving for over 60 years, Rollies Transfer. Find out more and request your quote at Rollies, ROLLYS.com. The gang of Consolidated Supplier ready for May. Looks like we're getting a little irrigation help right now, a little bit of rain outside. But if you have irrigation products or needs for your home or your business, Consolidated Supply are the experts there. They also can help you out with artificial turf. They are the leader in golf carts in the province, is the exclusive club car dealer, and have new and used options for you and other great options for your property, including hot tubs and amazing outdoor kitchen options. And listen, they're also the leaders in small engine parts and repair. So many things Consolidated Supply can help you out with. Pop down and see them at their showroom, open to the public, 1395 Niagara Road East, or find out more online at their website at CTE.ca. Well, I just mentioned those golf carts from Consolidated Supply. You're going to need a battery for that golf cart. But if you're in farming, if you're in construction, if you're getting ready to fire up the business for the summer, you need to be powered up. And that is why Donnie and the gang at Manitoba Battery, now with 2 Winnipeg locations, have the spring sale going on right now. Great deals on golf cart batteries, truck batteries, and more. And Manitoba Battery always has the best prices in town, beating the pants off the big box stores, but even better deals right now to get you ready for spring. Find out more at 1026 Logan Avenue, the new location on Dover Court. And of course, you can start your shopping right now at manitobabattery.com, and they'll deliver it to you for free anywhere inside the perimeter of Winnipeg with any purchase over $60. And, well, you know, Rewucki's coming in, and today I think he's got a hat on, but he is synonymous with hair. And if you want to get even close to the level of Brandon Rewucki, you maybe want to head down to Modern Man Barbershops, gang. 8 locations in the city of Winnipeg, including the newest locations on Plessis Road and Pembina Highway down by Bishop. Got you covered, guys, with great haircuts, beard shaping, shaves, color services, and more. Not to mention a great selection of men's products available for you as well. Conveniently located around the city, so get on down to modernmanbarber.com, make an appointment, and book your look. And, of course, you can also give them a follow on Insta at Modern Man Barber Shops. Let's get Rewucki in here as we get ready for Game 3. Brandon, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I think we both enjoyed the NFL draft last night, and excited to see a 2-1 Winnipeg series advantage after, I guess closer to midnight.
Okay, I'm glad you brought the draft up because we've been talking Jets the entire time, and we'll get back right to it. What was your reaction when the Falcons took Penix at 8?
So I texted my brother that I can't remember. I mean, we have to go back a long, long time. I can't remember the last time in any league that my jaw actually hit the floor at a pick. It was so unexpected.
The last time I can compare it, the most bizarre thing was when the Vikings missed their pick for 2 picks in a row, and teams went up and selected ahead of them, and then they went and got their guy. They just signed Kirk Cousins for 4 years, $180 million, and you use a top 10 pick on a quarterback? I'll never understand it.
Who would have thought that the Falcons fans actually would have preferred that they forfeited the pick to Chicago. That would have been a better situation. Like maybe we could have forfeited a couple times, draw back, and then do. I mean, it's wild. And it's funny because I actually like Penix. Like he was fun to watch at Washington,
big time,
and I think he might actually end up being pretty good. But it's just god awful roster planning, roster composition, allocation of assets and resources. I was blown away by it. I don't think there's a great explanation for it. I get that maybe you couldn't trade back, and if you like the guy, you take it. But the one funny thing, Huss, though, is that well, by the time he's 28, but whenever he does eventually get into a game, if he's actually great, it won't be a bad pick. But it's just crazy to do so immediately after you sign Cousins to 100+ Schmidt guaranteed. I kind of like the metaphor that it's almost like cheating on your significant other during the honeymoon. Like you didn't even wait. You didn't even give it a year. You didn't give the marriage a chance, and then you already moved on.
Well, the only way this pick makes sense is that if the punishment for the tampering is voiding the contract. Like at that point, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, maybe they were onto something here. Anyways, just one other quick note from the draft last night. And many of you are familiar with our pal Gabe Morency at Sports Rage, go to my Twitter at Hustlerama and check out Gabe's reaction to the Bills trading the 28th pick to the Kansas City Chiefs and allowing the Chiefs to move up and take Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Like, Brandon, NFL, you don't do that. You don't do that normally again with your rivals to begin with. But when you consider the last time the Chiefs traded up with the Bills, they took Patrick Mahomes. You can understand why Bills fans were absolutely losing it last night.
I haven't seen this clip, but I'm a pretty good lip reader. I can kind of pick it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of F sharps as it continues going on, but Gabe was you can see the intensity. You don't even need to hear it. Just look at it. Anyways, it's on my Twitter right now, but like, what are they doing?
It's funny too, because like in a vacuum, trading back and getting more picks, and they might take the guy they wanted to take anyways there. It makes sense. But what makes even more sense is blocking any number from a Kansas City area code and never taking those calls ever again at the draft. You cannot even risk it happening ever again. So, I mean, it's a great move by the Chiefs. Even if this Worthy kid, hey, just run the fly route 15 times a game and open it up for us. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think Andy Reid's going to find a way to get him involved. But yeah, I was just more simple. It's just like, just don't answer the call. Don't take the call. Oh, you want to move up 3 spots? That'll be your next 10 first-round picks. If not, see you later.
Beat it. Talk to somebody else. We're gonna take your guy.
Yeah.
And like, they did just get rid of Diggs. It's not like they don't have a need at the wide receiver position. Now they're picking first tonight. I would imagine there's still some good players left. But Kansas City gets the guy that they wanted, and that's a team with a pretty good draft record, just saying. Let's get back to the pucks, though. I was saying at the top of the show, I was really happy. First of all, because I love the NFL draft so much. I was loving the fact that we had 2 days between the games. But considering the way Game 2 sort of fell apart in that second period and the regrets the Jets might have had about the second game at home, I think the 2 days off actually came at a really good time for Winnipeg to get back to where they need to be, focus on the task at hand in a building they played very well in so far this season.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the optimistic way to look at it. Maybe you didn't want to get right back at it after what happened in the second half of Game 2. I think they played a lot worse in Game 1 than they did in Game 2, in all honesty. So I don't even look at the semi collapse in the second period there as to what might be worrying heading into the trip back to Denver here. It's just more so that, Game 1, the Avs took it to Winnipeg, and it was just a Georgiev nightmare performance that ultimately boosted them to victory here. I think whether it's 1 night rest, 2 nights rest, whatever it is, the first two games were just a smack in the face and a splash of cold water and a wake-up call that, I thought it was going to go a different direction, the series, in all honesty. But it was
a big-time reality check. I mean, this is the Colorado Avalanche. And I mean, listen, I get it. I mean, we watched the Jets go in and beat the bleep out of them 7-0 in a game that they themselves said was the biggest game of the year. Obviously, you have confidence that, the team can do it. Listen, I haven't lost it either. I mean, I think the Jets can play with Colorado. They certainly can be better than they were in the first two games. But it was a reminder for any of us that thought, oh, well, they just have the Avalanche number and they own this team. Not so fast. Nate McKinnon in the playoffs, a different beast. And I mean, as I said, I kind of half jokingly said I've been up at night, but seriously, you see how dangerous he is every time he's on the ice with the puck and how much he's playing, and realize the challenge for the entire Winnipeg Jets club when he's on right now. I was throwing out earlier, it's kind of been a topic all week. Is there a better 5-man unit in the NHL than McKinnon, Rantanen, Nichushkin, Cale Makar, and Devin Taves? I don't think so. I mean, you can say, like, the Oilers have the forwards, but there's no Makar in that group. I mean, they are so dynamic, and I mean, it just goes to show a Jet team that has been so good defensively has to be at that level, and their best player needs to be their best player in Connor Hellebuck, and we all know that he's got another level that we really hope to see beginning tonight.
Yeah, no, and how they've tried to defend McKinnon through two games, I think has, and even Bowness said it's not been good enough. And speaking of McDavid, that's how you have to defend him now. Like, he is McDavid's equivalent, especially in the postseason when he turns into the biggest alpha male there is in hockey. So it's not to me, when McKinnon's on the ice, it's not line match this, it's not deep pair that, it's not Lowry has to do that. It's all five of the guys out there. Like, you just have to defend him specifically as a 5-man unit. And the same way you can't allow McDavid to gain speed heading up the other way in the ice, you can't allow McKinnon to do that. He's too good, too fast, too powerful, too strong. It's over. If he gets the puck with speed in the neutral zone, enjoy the next 45 seconds inside your own end, and maybe less if a goal ends up happening or a penalty. So I think they know what needs to be done, specifically with McKinnon, to help halt what's been a pretty productive start to the series for him so far. So I'll be intrigued to see how successful they are at defending that. But kind of low key, the rest of the Avs, they've been pretty good too. Like, the speed of Colorado has given Winnipeg major fits so far, and it's not just how do we slow down McKinnon right now. Like, the second line for Colorado is light years ahead of the second line for Winnipeg right now. We thought there would be a lot of matchups the Jets could win lower down the lineup. Give the Avs forwards credit. They've come to play so far. That's the championship medal that they have. And now it's on the Jets to elevate their level, because Colorado was the better team through the first two games.
Well, let's talk about the second line for a minute. I mean, what have you seen from them so far, and what needs to change with that group to, help them be a part of, getting a win or two when, they're on the road?
You just need more out of all of them. I mean, Toffoli has been kind of invisible so far through two games. I don't know if there's an injury or something that's going on there, but it feels like his pace is just off what the Avalanche have to offer right now.
He's been wearing those pants with the 25-pound bag of sand in them again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that feeling, but I don't know. They don't look fast out there. And I know Monahan. I mean, look, Monahan and Toffoli aren't burners anyways to begin with, but it just feels like they're a step behind the play right now. And so I think just injecting a bit of pace, finding a way to get Monahan and Toffoli into the action a little bit earlier is going to go a long way. They need to win some battles. They've been a little bit soft along the boards against the Avalanche defensemen and forwards, and Nikolai Ehlers just needs to be more engaged as well. There was that shift he had. I forget which. It was near the end of the regular season, and it was a home game, but I can't remember the team it was against. But he was all over the ice, and he was throwing hits. He was pissed off at something that happened earlier in the game, and you just knew that he was going to get on the score. And then, a shift or two later, he ends up being the catalyst for a goal. We need that Nikolai Ehlers. to show up in this series right now, because it's just been kind of tame. That whole line has just been a step off it so far. I'm willing to give them another game for sure, the entirety of this game, to see if they've maybe it was just a bad start, and having a chance to play a little more together in Game 3 gives them the ability to be as good as we hope they can be. But I don't think we're all that far away, Huss, from tapping number 91 on the shoulder and said, "All right, kid, worked out pretty good last time we threw you into the lineup, and it's going to be time soon if things don't go our way Friday night."
I mean, I guess I'm here for that conversation, but I have a hard time imagining they're going to tell a 30-plus goal scorer that they traded for at the deadline to take a seat. Because to be honest, I mean, I don't see a trickle down. Like, I see if Perfetti goes in, he's going into the top 6. If Morgan Barron comes back, maybe he goes in for Gus. Gus has been great. And, like, the fourth line has been the least of the worries. They've come up with a huge goal in both games. And, I mean, listen, Adam Lowry and along with Nino and Apple have the toughest job in the entire series. And to be honest, they've done quite well. Like, that's what was so frustrating about Game 2, Brandon. You get a huge goal from your fourth line, and the Lowry line does a great job minimizing McKinnon. That's a game that, you feel like you probably should win if I told you that beforehand. Much like Colorado feels, well, we're going to put 6 past Hellebuck. Obviously, we're winning that game. That's kind of why this series probably really should be 1-1 right now, although it does feel like the Avs kind of took some of the momentum away after Game 2.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. But, I mean, yes, you obviously don't want to push a guy that you paid significant assets for down the lineup, but you need wins. You have zero time. You have no time. And you have no margin for error, especially if you lose Game 3, right? Like, yes, technically you can come back from a 3-1 deficit, but I'm not holding any hope that the Avalanche are going to be one of those teams that blows a deficit like that. So, whether it's Perfetti, whether it's somebody else in the lineup, who I've actually liked a lot so far through 2 games and would probably be my first choice to move further up the lineup is Vladdy. I mean, he's been all over the ice. To me, he's been one of the more noticeable skaters for Winnipeg so far through 2 games. And I mean, look, he's had chemistry with Ehlers before as well. So maybe that's an option before you go maybe a more nuclear route. But I can wait 3 games for line 2. I can't wait much more than that. And I think if things go south tonight, that Bones is going to have a hard decision to make. Someone's going to be pissed off about it, but there's no time to waste and there's no margin for error. And so they got to find a way to get more outside of that top line.
I think about the options of like that the coaching staff have when it comes to Perfetti, if he was in. And like, you had mentioned this before. I mean, maybe you bring him in on the fourth line, and if things aren't going for that top line, you can make that switch. It's just that what that fourth line is out there to do, like Fallow sure as hell isn't coming out. He's been awesome. Gus, Vlad, like maybe it is Gustafsson, and they roll with that. They play them a little less, and it gives them there. I'm with you though. Like tonight's the night to see more out of that top line and remove this conversation from it. Because honestly, with the way that the other 3 lines have played overall, if you start getting production from line 2, you're a lot closer to where you need to be. And listen, even at that point, doesn't guarantee you're going to beat the Avalanche. I mean, this is a team that feels, and I would argue kind of to your point before, they're closer to having all of their lines going right now and really feeling it. And we had to expect that. I mean, the way they got embarrassed in that final game, knowing that they'd blown home ice, they were coming here. It was a team that had, a lot of determination. I think something to prove to themselves as well, in addition to making up for the fact that they blew home ice in that game. Well, now they've got it back, and the challenge for the Winnipeg Jets is to flip that script sometime this weekend with a win.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because they arguably had the biggest lineup call to make going into the last game. And maybe Annunin's illness or whatever he's dealing with was the only reason they didn't make a goaltending switch.
Oh, I think that is absolutely the case. And
isn't it crazy, in like just how it works in sports sometimes, that serendipity comes in when you least expect it in the weirdest places? I thought there was no chance Georgiev was going to be – like I thought we were watching – Fleury against the Flyers 2.0. Like, he was just so bad in that opening game. It was bad down the stretch as well. I mean, give him a ton of credit to
he
turn it
didn't
around.
look. He didn't look like locked in at the beginning of the game as well. Like,
True,
I really
yeah.
believe if the Jets had been able to maybe do a little bit more, and credit to the Avalanche for, it was a little bit more of a low event first half of the first period. And the Avs for themselves, they only had 2 shots through the first 11 minutes. But then you look at the shot clock at the end of the first period, and they got 15. So, I mean, they really did turn it around, and they helped their goaltender after the Jets went up on that goal by David Gustafsson. Quickly, what do you think about moving Schmidt back in and getting Samberg back to a more comfortable spot on the left side?
I think that's how they should have started the playoffs. It was pretty obvious and evident after game 1 that neither one of those defensemen were comfortable out there. I mean, like Samberg obviously has the bad turnover / decision on one of the Avalanche goals. I thought Stanley was just overwhelmed by the pace of the play. Yeah, I'm surprised they honestly went back to it in game 2. Just really the only reason was winning lineup.
They won.
The same. I think it was an obvious decision. And I don't think they ever needed to do anything there because Samberg and Schmidt have been one of the best third pairs in all of hockey this year. So it was bizarre to me that they wanted to tinker and experiment with that so late in the season with so little time available to get both Samberg and Stanley accustomed to each other. So I expect both of those players to perform the same way they have all season long. No surprise to me. It was, I think, a pretty easy decision for Bones.
Hey, before we break, I just want to move off of this series for a second and ask you, are the Dallas Stars done?
Yeah. Yeah.
What a reward for finishing first in the West. Here you go.
The bad guys.
Seed.
Yeah. This is
NWO.
what they do. I mean, and Dallas hasn't even played bad. Like, it's just been, in all honesty, though, it's kind of been how their season's gone this year, that Ottinger is not the guy we saw last year. That's their one weakness this year. And I mean, I don't even think Logan Thompson's played all that well at the other end of the ice, but he's done just a little bit more than Ottinger so far, and that's the difference. Like, that's it between a 2-0 series deficit and maybe a 1-1, or maybe even Dallas finds a way to win both of those games. So I don't expect Vegas to sweep, but I find it hard to believe that they're not going to pick up one of 2 at home and then end with the next couple.
I think Dallas might win tomorrow night. Like, I think that you are going to see the most desperate hockey team that we've seen yet in the playoffs right now. I mean, they're too good just to be swept out by this team. And I think they'll bring their best and leave it all out there on the ice. And maybe that can get them back into the series with a win.
What's interesting to me is if you had the choice, and maybe you would have leaned a different way going into the playoffs, but would you rather play Colorado or Vegas if you were Winnipeg? Like, how many teams would you have to go down the list before you're like, yeah, we'll take the Golden Knights? Like, I think we all kind of underestimated the impact of having Hurdle, Hannafin, and Stone all in the lineup at one time. Like, I don't know. I might actually lean towards the Avalanche over the Golden Knights, which is crazy when they have the likely MVP this year.
Knowing the Jets are playing the Avs, like, I was a little choked that the really tough Central became the full-fledged group of death when they blew it on the final night, and all of a sudden they had to come over to play Dallas, and Dallas has got to be pissed. I mean, that's not what you expected when you went and won the division and won the West. The teams on the other side of it absolutely loved it. I mean, listen, I know Edmonton's 1-1, but they'll take a 7-gamer with the Kings a lot more than the 7 games with the Vegas Golden Knights, but listen, they're the team to beat right now. They've still got the belt, and the champion's advantage, if you will, is going on right now in that series. Hey, just before we go, can the Leafs get back into this one? You think this one gets tied, or they're done?
I've been one of the bigger backers of the Leafs and believers that they can get it done. I watch their games like out of hatred. Like, I hate watching them. It's just, it drives me crazy watching these players, these guys, talent that none of us could even dream of having. And I always hate this. I hate when people lean towards this, especially come playoff time, when one team wants him more than the other team, like that sort of stuff, because these are all high-level elite athletes with a work ethic that is, in the less than 1% of the best on the planet. But it looks like they don't want it as badly. Like it actually is crazy.
I agree.
They should be eating up the Bruins outside of that Marchand line. Like I can't even watch Mitch Marner in the postseason anymore. He looks terrified out there.
Well, first of all, you got to find him, because a lot of times I think, is he playing? Is he out there?
He's had one good shift this series, and then he's going to have the audacity to ask for 12 or 13 million by the time contract negotiations come into play. The only one I'll give a pass is Matthews, because he's been kind of carrying, and he's been doing this for a while for them now. But I mean, Marner, but Marner can't watch it. Tavares, feel bad. He's got no legs left. The Nylander thing is just hilarious in terms of course, it happens to the Leafs come playoff time. They need him the most. He's maybe the one guy that you can count on for a big goal, and he's out of the lineup for them. I really don't like the Bruins, but I need them to just end this series as soon as possible, because I can't. It's just angering me. My rage knows no bounds each time I watch a new Leafs game. So I'm actually hoping for Boston to end this one quickly.
Well, let's cross our fingers that Carolina can take care of the Islanders and put them out of their misery on the weekend, and maybe we'll get an earlier game on Tuesday. And we won't have to sit around and watch the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs go at it before we finally get a puck drop between the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche in Game 5 here in the Peg. Rue, fill people in on what's cracking during the playoffs at Skates and Plates.
Yeah, so we got recap episodes after every game. It's going to be a little bit later tomorrow. There's zero chance that I'm cranking out an episode at midnight tonight. But we'll have episodes.
Slacker.
Yeah, I know. But 4 hour sleep schedules. I'll figure out a way to get it out Saturday morning instead. But yeah, every the day after every playoff game, we have a breakdown of each game between the Jets and Avs. So we'll have something out for everybody on Saturday sometime.
You know where to get it, folks. Skates and Plates, not all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for doing this, dude. Have a great weekend and enjoy the tilt tonight.
Sounds great. Have a good one as well. We'll talk soon.
Good stuff. Always fun chopping it up with Brandon Rewucki. Again, if you missed this earlier, Remis mentioned this, but we have some street party tickets for WST listeners and viewers. What you're going to want to do is go to winnipegsportstalk.com/contest, enter to win there, and also keep an eye on our Instagram. If you haven't followed already, go over there, give us a follow at Sports Talk WPG. We'll have Whiteout Street Party tickets potentially there as well. And you can check out, if you missed this, a couple of great reels that Remis put together. One of the two of us talking about potential names for the Utah NHL team, and one that people are really loving today, a highlight of us talking about Salmon Shirt Guy and the Salmon Shirt chant at the game the other day. That's on our Instagram, of course, all of our platforms, Facebook, Twitter or X, Insta, TikTok, at Sports Talk WPG. Billeck's going to come up in a minute. You know, it was so gorgeous yesterday. I got thinking about football season, partly because I was watching the NFL draft, but so excited to get to Princess Auto Stadium this summer and get going with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Next week is next month is baseball season. Goldeyes are going to get going next week. We'll have Logan Thompson. By the way, huge news yesterday with Max Murphy re-signing. We thought he was going to Mexico. No, the Masher is back. The squad's shaping up well, but Princess Auto, a huge supporter of the Bombers, the Winnipeg Goldeyes, the Winnipeg Jets, and your boys here at WST, proudly headquartered and founded right here in Winnipeg. Princess Auto's where you'll find the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is at Princess Auto. Pop by and see them at one of two Winnipeg locations, Panet Road, Portage Avenue West, or shop online 24/7, 365 at princessauto.com. If your long list of projects for the summer includes a new fence, You know that the experts at Wallace & Wallace are ready to take care of you in that fashion. Hey, you're going to see they've been the experts in fencing for over 7 decades in Winnipeg, and you see their fences and trucks all over the city. Well, it's getting busy right now. Installations have begun. So if you are thinking about getting a new fence, whether it's commercial, residential, pretty much have every type of fence you could possibly need, the sooner you get that order in, the sooner you'll get it built. And listen, there's still time to spend the majority of summer on the right side of a brand new fence. Go to wallacefences.com or give them a call at 452-2700 for a Wallace expert to come by for a free estimate for your fencing products. Don't forget, they're also the leaders in overhead garage doors. It's all there, wallacefences.com, wallacedoors.com. You can also pop down and see them at their showroom on Lawson Road off of Kenaston. The guys at F Apparel are ready for summer as well. Are you? If you need to up your menswear game, gang, for wedding season and more, get on down to F. Custom suits beginning at $400, along with chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, both tucked and untucked styles, and an incredible selection of menswear accessories. 15% discount when you and the fellas in the wedding party get your suits at F. They've also got a great promo right now for high school graduates needing a new suit. It's all there at F Apparel, 190 Smith Street downtown. Find out more online or make an appointment at F. That's EPHapparel.com. And a big shout out to the gang at Aikens Lake. I saw my boy Pat Trudell, who's makes it all happen there along with Petersen at the game. They are heading out early next week, and fishing season will be on. If you are thinking or looking for a world-class fly-in fishing destination in Manitoba where you can be on the water in less than 2 hours from the city of Winnipeg with world-class fishing and even more world-class hospitality, Aikens Lake is the spot. Perfect for friends, family, corporate events or retreats as well. All the information there for you is at aikenslake.com. Find out today about availability for the summer 2024 fishing season. All right, we're going to head to Denver in about 20 minutes with Will Petersen. Right now, though, let's welcome in Scotty Billeck from the Winnipeg Sun as we get ready for Game 3 tonight. Billeck, what's up, man? How are you?
It's going. Wish I was in Denver, but it's going nonetheless. I love Denver. It's a great city.
I know. Well, maybe we'll have a chance to get back there later on in the series.
I hope so.
A big chance to make that happen would be to get a win tonight or a win on Sunday afternoon. Just overall, what's your takeaways from the first 2 games? The Avalanche getting the split, and now a best of 5 heading back to Denver with the Avalanche regaining home ice.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for the most part, the Avs have probably been the better team, right? But they've had the worst goaltending. But that sort of evened out in game 2, right? Because Alexander Georgiev had a bounce back game, and Connor Hellebuyck probably didn't, right? I think if we were going to expect anything out of game 2, was that Connor Hellebuyck was going to come in there and play lights out, as he often does after giving up a lot of goals. Now
he did for 20.
Exactly, and this is my problem a little bit with the people that are kind of riding Connor Hellebuyck here. It's you look at the first game, and you would probably say the McKinnon goal was the one that was the softie, right? Now, you got to also consider who the shooter is on that goal as well,
Agreed.
And you got a piece of it, and it still went through. Fair enough, right? I mean, if you're going to give them, but the chances that the Jets gave up in game 1 to allow those goals to happen, and 2 of them came on the power play, and 2 of them came on just brutal giveaways and poor defensive play by the Jets. So I'm not really blaming them for anything in game 1, and I think it was overshadowed anyways because of how bad Georgiev was. Game 2 was a little different for me because Georgiev was better, and they sort of got outdueled by him. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think Hellebuyck just needs to be a little bit better. I don't think he has to be that much better. He made 40 saves in the first game. But I just don't think he played well enough in game 2 to help that team win. But at the same time, game 2 was an odd one because they get that early goal from Gustafsson, and that's a big boost, right? 3:15 into that game, into game 2, they've already put that dent into the confidence of Georgiev, right? But then it sort of seemed like they let off the gas. And then Mark Scheifele scores that incredible one-handed goal in the second period. And then they sort of let off the gas. And it's just like, well, what's going on there, right? Like, because to me, it's like, they get those 2 power plays later in the first period in that game. And you're wondering, like, if they put pot even maybe one of those in the net. And I'm not even talking about the cross-ice pass that I think it was Velarde that got saved. That one would have ruined it for Georgiev, I think. But if you get 1 or 2 power play goals there in the second or in the first period still, I think that, again, probably helps Winnipeg's cause, because it keeps that notion in Georgiev's head that he's not able to play on this level in the playoffs. And I think, again, after the first, and they didn't get those goals, and then the second, it seemed like they sagged after that emotional high of that Scheifele goal. And it came right after they killed off the 4-minute double minor. Incredible work by Dylan Sandberg on that. I think he had 3 blocks, maybe 4 during a couple shifts there combined on that PK. And so I'm looking at game 2. Like, game 2 felt like an opportunity loss for the Jets, right? Like, Colorado did play better, and a large part of that was because of their goaltending. I still think that the Jets have done a really good job at limiting Nathan McKinnon in those high danger areas. He's going to get his chances.
Especially in game 2. Especially in game 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the Lowry line did a great job. He had that assist on that bizarre play of the Manson coming out of the penalty box. But other than that, I mean,
but they went the nuclear option, Huss, right? Like, they went to that nuclear option pretty early because they figured, Zach Parise, they can't do it. And so they put Nichushkin up there. And even then, like, that's the nuclear option for them right now. They could put Lettinen up there. I understand that. But that's a big line, and they shut them down enough that there was no goals against. And honestly, that line was essentially outplayed in terms of creating some of those high danger chances. So, I mean, to me, that's a wash. The problem is you lose a face-off, and that goal's in the back of the net by Miles Wood. And then it just seemed like that game was 2 sides. Like, if that game was played in the first 10 minutes of every period, the Jets win that game. But the problem is they played the second 10 minutes of every period because you have to, because every period is 20 minutes, and they just weren't good enough, and that's where they lost the game.
I am going to give credit to the Avs, though. I mean, like, this
is
100%. There's a lot of counter punching, if you will, and I mean, definitely. They cranked it up big time in the second half of that first period, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, I think I said this the day after, but the Jets have that. Like, they to tie it up, Kyle Connor takes the 4-minute penalty, and you're like, oh my God, here we go. I mean, they were 2 for 2 in game 1, and you have that great 4 minutes where they really didn't give up much, and then turn it around right after with the Scheifele one-hander, and you feel like, okay, this is the Jets' night. They are on, and I do wonder how history might be different if Kyle Connor has a couple extra millimeters to the left on that one that rang off the post.
Yeah.
But the counterpunch came in a big way. The Lettinen tip. Yeah. And then I think when they look back, I mean, you can really say those 2 goals that changed the game from 2-2 to 4-2 in a lot of parts were somewhat self-inflicted. I mean, the mess behind 100%. The net on the third goal, and then the circumstances that led to the goal with just a few seconds left in the Manson one was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But third period, and Kyle Connor talked about this afterwards, they didn't sustain enough zone time. Yeah. And I think going back to what worked in the first period with the fourth line, I'm not sure that they did a good enough job of getting it off the perimeter and into those areas where the goals are scored. And that certainly brings us to line 2. Like, Tyler Toffoli is a guy that can be invisible for a while and then can get the puck on his stick, and all of a sudden the red light is on. I think the focus is going to be a lot on Ehlers, Monahan, and Toffoli right now, because that is the one line in this series that really hasn't got it going yet. And it's hard to imagine the Jets beating a team like Colorado if they don't get some significant contributions from those 3.
Exactly. I mean, I think you just look at who's been scoring from Colorado when the McKinnon line's been mostly held at bay, and it's been the second, third, and fourth line for them. To be fair, the Jets got important contributions from the third and fourth line in both games, and especially in the first game for Adam Lowry, and in the second game for David Gustafsson. to get that goal as well, and then the top line to score on the Scheifele goal. I look at, and just before I get to the second line, you look back at the third period of both games, right? And you see the Jets were only limited to 8 shots in the third period of game 2. When Colorado was coming from behind and trying to get back into the game in game 1, they put up 21 shots in that third period. And to me, that's a huge difference, right? Like, you knew that Colorado wanted it more. And so in game 2, it just didn't seem like the Jets wanted it enough. They weren't generating, as you said, enough offense in the third period. They were just being held at bay, and that's just not aggressive enough. Like, all these guys have said it now, from Josh Morrissey yesterday at the airport, or 2 days ago, at the airport, to yesterday's availability, even this morning. I mean, Dylan DeMel and Mark Scheifele both using the word aggressive. It's apparent that that's been drilled into the heads of this team about how maybe unaggressive they've been, or inefficient, at least in their aggressiveness. Now, coming to the second line, yeah, I mean, totally agree. I think we're looking at this at a slightly different angle, too, in game 1. If Tyler Toffoli doesn't come out and he doesn't try and shoot that puck, instead he slides Nikolai Ehlers, who's wide open in front and probably is going in on just an easy tap-in for Ehlers there, maybe we're not talking about this line as much. But you're right. I mean, problem is, Ehlers is on his butt on that goal that goes against, so that's not a great look. So I think the problem is, like, there's not been enough great looks from that line, and then some of the mistakes from that line have led to what we would perceive as bad. Like, if you look at the analytics, they've actually outshot in both games their opposition. But the problem with, we can talk, this isn't a time anymore to be just out shooting, right? You got to be outscoring.
It's nice to have expected goals, but unfortunately they don't count at the end of 60 minutes.
And so, I mean, over an 82-game season, we can be like, oh yeah, and that line played great. But here's the thing: that line over the last 15 or 16 games of the season outscored their opposition 11-4. Right now, they're not outscoring anybody, and so that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at a line that may be producing offense in terms of like generating chances, but they're not generating what they actually need to be generating.
And that's a line that we've seen before can get hot quickly and really get going. And I think, and by the way, Rob Noakes in chat, just speaking about that fourth goal, how did Velarde get beat by a D-man out of the penalty box? That was the end for me. Well, unfortunately, Rob, I mean, they don't go out the same door. Unfortunately, that was at the end of the second period and not the first or the third, where the Colorado guy was on one side going to the net, and they came out of the box with whatever the difference is, and the pass by McKinnon, like, he literally, it was on his stick, straight line in, and he got it done. That was it was an unfortunate series of events, but I mean, listen,
sorry, I don't mean to catch you, but I'll say this: like, if you look at that play and watch Velarde going down, they're basically a penalty box width from each other. And when you say, why does a forward not beat a defenseman? Well, if you often look at some of the fastest skaters in the league, they're defensemen, right? Like, they're good at that short burst, getting back and doing that. And I'm not saying Josh Manson's the fastest skater in the world. I am saying probably that Velarde didn't really expect that also to happen. At the same time, you have to expect that to happen when it's McKinnon. But I guess when you look at that play, and you're probably just like, you don't expect Ehlers to just cough it up like that. Again, whatever.
I mean, the breakdown happens before.
Exactly. It's not Velarde's fault that he couldn't catch up to him. It's more on Nikolai Ehlers to not get that puck deep, or at least kind of get it underneath him, where they're not right. And it's really bad timing on top of that too. So yeah, I mean, I'm not blaming Gabe Velarde at that at all.
Hey, we're gonna I'm gonna talk about this Will Petersen in Denver coming up in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But as much as Georgiev got a reprieve, like, by getting the win, I will say this, dude, back in that building, I mean, like, the fans, if you saw and not just Avalanche fans, but media were writing about Georgiev after game number 1, considering the way the season ended. Like, it was nice they got the win, but it's not like if the Jets pop a couple early, there is going to be, like, it's going to be right back to where they were in game 1. The good thing for Colorado is that Annunen is back, and he's going to be able to go into the net, so they won't be in the Arvid Holm situation right now. I know some people say, Arvid Holm got recalled. That's basically to be the e-bug And because Prosvetov, I think, is going to be playing for the Colorado Eagles. But I do think that as much as maybe around these parts, we're talking more about Helly needing to make a few more saves and some of the things the Winnipeg Jets have done. I still think there's an opportunity to get to Georgiev early and take advantage of the fact that he is still not maybe at the level he was when he was winning all those games through the majority of the regular season.
Yeah, and again, you look at Georgiev's wins, sure, those are great, but you got to imagine, look at his save percentage. It was absolutely atrocious. He's the second worst save percentage in the playoffs right now. The other one's Ilya Samsonov in Toronto. He was tops. I think it was just a little bit lower, not too much. But regardless, Georgiev is still a liability. And the Jets have to recognize that getting 8 shots against him in the third period or whatever is not enough. Like, you need to become a volume team against that guy, because the thing is, you put guys in front. He's, you even saw it on the Gustafsson goal. I mean, he basically kicked out the rebound to Gustafsson's stick. Like, he provided the primary assist on that goal. And so, like, my issue is that when you have a goalie that's sort of wounded, let's say, what you want to do is keep putting pucks on him. When he looks shaky, keep putting pucks on him, because that's where the mistakes get made. That's where the holes get made. That's where a guy gets caught out of position. So I think 100% the pressure is on Alexander Georgiev to keep doing it. Now, they do have Justus Annunen. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, he's put up some good numbers as a backup, but this guy has no idea playoff hockey, right? That's the other problem. Like, their goaltending situation is fragile at best, right? And I think the Jets have to become the team that, once again, as they did in Game 1, exploits that. Exploit it. Become a bit more of volume. Put a lot of pucks on net. It creates a lot of chaos, and we've talked about this all year with this team. At times where this team wasn't shooting or scoring, they just weren't creating a lot of chaos in front. But get a guy in front, get a tip. There's some good tippers on this team, good guys that can get the hand-eye coordination. So get back to that stuff, and that's all part of being aggressive, right? I mean, this is a team that is sort of, I think, paid too much respect to Colorado and not really believe that they can do this and play their game and impose their will on this team. And but I think there's also going to be some pressure on Connor Hellebuck here too, right? Like, I think he knows just as much as anybody else that he hasn't played his best game. We're all watching it, and the attention, if Georgiev plays a good game and Connor Hellebuck doesn't, that's where the attention turns. And I guess, if we're, and everybody knows this, like, if there's one knock against Connor Hellebuck, it's that he hasn't turned his Vezina form in the regular season into a Conn Smythe form in the playoffs, right? And that's a big problem for the Jets, for a team that often relies on their goalie as much as they do. A little less this season, but still, this was a guy that saved, I think, upwards of 34, 35 goals against above expected than he was supposed to, right? Right now, that number is one of the worst in the playoffs right now. And so they need Hellebuck to be better. And it's not just the giveaways, because there's been times where, and again, I'm not saying that he hasn't played good, because you look at the first 2 periods in both games, and he's been brilliant, right? Like, it's got to be consistent throughout the whole game. And so that's one thing that, this team and we'll all be watching tonight, because they need him to be the best goalie in the world, like he has.
100%. I mean, listen, Nate McKinnon, their superstar, has been playing at that superstar level. Yeah. Listen, there's a couple more levels for Helly to get to, and for the Jets to win, that is mandatory. There's no question about it. Hey, just before we go, I asked Brandon this: are the Stars toast, or what do you make of the predicament that the Western Conference leaders, the number 1 seed, are in?
Yeah, I don't get it. I honestly don't. Like, I mean, it's almost like Dallas just forgot how to play the game that they play. Like, don't get me wrong, give Vegas a ton of credit here. Vegas has played well. They got Mark Stone back. It's all good. They're running well. They got their LTI guys scoring and doing all that stuff, whatever. But, I mean, Dallas literally, like, everybody was, I didn't have them preseason as a Stanley Cup favorite out of the West. I still think it's Edmonton, or I still thought it was Edmonton. But going into the playoffs, I was kind of like, it's got to be Dallas, right? Like, Dallas played so well. They're so deep. And yet they don't look like, they look like sort of a shadow of themselves right now. And I don't understand it. I don't. I
They're
don't
completely freaked out by Vegas in that first game. And I think the first game, I think 4 of the first 9 shots got through Ottinger.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like Ottinger just not playing well, you know. But I don't think that they're defending all that well either. And that's their team. That's what they do. Like this is, I mean, Dallas. Don't get no disrespect to them, but they're a bit of a boring team to watch, right? And they have been
At their best. They absolutely are,
right. And that's the thing. But we haven't seen that, so it's been a bit more exciting games in that respect. So it's been kind of a boring first round, don't you think, Huss? Like. I don't know. Like you look at the series, 3 of the 4 series in the East sort of look like they're sort of wrapped up. Like I'm not saying that the Maple Leafs are out of it, but the way that they played Game 3, I mean, it just was a really bad game. And you know they don't have Nylander and Matthews was sick or whatever you want to call it, but they just don't have the defense and the goaltending either. But I mean, you know, Florida's just put in the foot to Tampa, and the Hurricanes are just. Even when they look like they're going to lose, they win anyways.
Oh, the most fun series has been Colorado Winnipeg by a mile.
We're watching it. We're watching the best series in the playoffs so far.
Like even like I ripped out and caught the end of the game at BP after leaving the building after Game 2, the end of the Nashville Vancouver game.
That one looks like it's over too now.
And I'm looking. It's 8 minutes left in the third period.
Yeah.
And the shots were 16-12. And I'm like, that was the first period in the Jets Avalanche game.
I know.
So we at least are being treated to some good stuff. What do you and the fellas got in the sun over the course of the weekend as the series continues?
Yeah, just keep going here, plugging away at whatever we get, analysis, that sort of thing. That's kind of our bread and butter right now because we don't really have access to the players not being there. So, yeah, just looking forward to that. Looking forward to the team getting back here, too, to start getting back at that, too. So nice that we'll have a Game 5 because, you know, that's at least assured. And that building's been, I mean, kudos to the fans. Like, I'll say that just before we go. Though Games 1 and Games 2, like, you were there for 2014-15 and the warm-up, and the place was packed in the warm-up, and it was a standing ovation, and everybody was waving their towels. Like, I don't know if it'll ever get back to that because that's just like, that's sort of like Game 1 against Montreal, right, when they came back or whatever. But that's the loudest it's been in that building since Jacob Trouba scored third goal in the second period in Game 3 against the Nashville Predators. And it's just been a really good atmosphere there. I think it's the first time you've really felt like you know, I don't want to say that because I think it does a disservice to the fan, but I just don't think it was as electric last year. And maybe it was just the way, you know, they come back, it's 1-1, and then, you know, those games, but the overtime was still pretty good. Either way, I think it's been really, really loud. It's been really good. The atmosphere has been unbelievable in that building, and that's a full credit to the fans because they've really brought it, including the salmon shirt guy.
Salmon shirt. Oh my God. By the way, check our Instagram reel. Full analysis of salmon shirt guy and the chant in the 300s.
That was unbelievable. And that's the other thing. The chants have been really good, right? Like, again, I feel like the fan base has gotten back to what, like, they've done really well. The chanting.
They're bringing it.
They're bringing it, exactly. And I think it's really, so kudos to the people in the chat that were there and all that. It's been a lot of fun to report on those games because the atmosphere is incredible. Great stuff, Scotty. Thanks for doing this, man. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Yeah, you too. Have a good one. Thanks. All right. Well, we got a late one tonight, folks. Pre-game responsibly, so you're ready to go. But it is Friday, so let's raise a glass to the weekend. Today's WST sponsored by Generic Lager from Little Brown Jug. Your basic lager, just better. Little Brown Jug made the taste you crave with the name that says it all. With this impressively standard lager, whether you're at a Jets game or watching from home, grab a cold one and cheers. And you can also pick it up at Little Brown Jug in the Exchange District at 336 William Avenue, your local LC or vendor, and now available at all your sporting events. If you're getting ready for whiteout parties this weekend or the game, time TBD on Tuesday, you got to get down to Royal Sports, the biggest and best selection of whiteout shirts, hoodies, hats, white jerseys, everything you need. Oh, and those white fan chains as well. Everything you need to not be salmon shirt guy and blend in to the rest of the whiteout. And while you're at it, check out all the new stock coming in for soccer season, softball, baseball, running, bikes, and more at Winnipeg's original and only sports superstore, Royal Sports, 750 Pembina Highway
And, of course, on Instagram at Royal Sports Pembina. By the way, if you're looking for a great spot to go and watch the game with your crew tonight, Boston Pizza is the place for fans to team up for the Cup, for the playoffs. Whiteout parties happening at every local Boston Pizza with their new playoff menu, including wing flights, the Sicilian square footer pizza, and jalapeno popper dip, my personal favorite. They got pick-a-player games at all BPs, and they're giving away P1 lower bowl playoff tickets for every home game and a grand prize trip for two to the Stanley Cup final. So get your brightest, your whitest, and bring your crew to watch the playoffs at Boston Pizza. And just before we get to Denver, a quick shout out to our friends at Breezy Bend Country Club and a quick golf report. How are the Canadians doing at the Zurich Classic? Well, we've got Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor one shot back of the leaders, which include Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry. Alternate shot today, back at it. And by the way, the Coolbet boys are down there doing some fun content as well. We'll check in on Monday and let you know how that happened. All our golf reports brought to you by Breezy Bend. For more information on one of Winnipeg's top private clubs, future membership, wedding bookings, and more, talk to our pal Corey Johnson at the club or find out more online at breezybend.ca. All right, we cannot have a Winnipeg-Denver series without bringing in my old pal Will Petersen from denversports.com to get into it. And lots going on in the Denver sports scene right now. What's going on, Will? It's great to chat again. How are you?
Yeah, what's up, Hustler? It's been too long, and when I saw Avs and Jets, you were the first person I thought of. So here we go, tied 1-1.
Well, let's do this. Hey, listen, just before we get into the hockey, I have to quickly ask you about last night's NFL draft. What's Broncos country thinking about Bo Nix at 12 and the 5 quarterbacks that went before they even got to the podium?
Yeah, I think once J.J. McCarthy started slipping unexpectedly, Broncos country got excited because we were told that was Sean Payton's guy. Sean Payton fell in love with him, but they were going to have to trade to 4 to get JJ, excuse me. And all of a sudden it's like, he's there at 8. He's there at 9. He's there at 10. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network says the Jets are working a trade at 10. And everyone in Denver, yes, we're jumping the Vikings. We're getting JJ. No, the Vikings switched from 10 to 11 to get JJ McCarthy. And then it turned into Brock Bowers was on the board at 12. And it's like, man, that's a generational tight end. Could be the next Gronk, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta, whatever. No. They go Bo Nix at 12 when they probably could have gotten Bo Nix in the 20s. So, listen, I'm not going to be the guy that day one doesn't give him a chance. But I'm just telling you, Hustler, there was people out there that thought McCarthy was going to happen. They thought Bowers was going to happen. And then the womp womp music played when they took Bo Nix.
Well, at least the Falcons took all of the spotlight from teams that maybe made questionable decisions with one of the most bizarre in recent NFL history, signing Kirk Cousins to the 4-year, $180 million deal and then drafting Penix with the 8th overall pick. We'll be talking about that one for years.
Oh, no doubt. That was the shocker of the draft. And, they spun it. The Broncos spun it in their press conference afterwards. Well, once Penix went 8, we weren't worried. We weren't even going to get Nix at 12, so we had to take him there. And it was one of those things where it's like, maybe, but were the Raiders really going to take Nix at 13 if you let him go? I don't know. I think they could have traded back maybe 18, 19, 20, added some draft capital, and still landed Bo Nix. But I also do respect that viewpoint that, hey, when you love someone, you got to take him. Because the way Sean Payton talked about this guy last night, he actually thinks he's going to win Super Bowls with him. I'll believe it when I see it, especially in a division with Patrick Mahomes. But in the meantime, this is Sean Payton's legacy in Denver, whether or not Bo Nix works.
Well, last night in Denver, it was all about the draft, and it was all about the Nuggets continuing owning the Los Angeles Lakers. Tonight, it gets back to the hockey series. 1-1 so far. We've spent a lot of time this week talking about the ups and downs, the crazy game 1, and a game 2 that I think the Avalanche deserved to win. But from a Jets perspective, you look at a period of the game that sort of got away from them that really ended up being the difference. But I would imagine with the questions about Georgiev and scoring 6 and losing in game 1, the Avs and the mood around the Avs fan base has to be a lot better going into tonight than it might have been after the first game of the series.
Oh, no doubt. I think 6 minutes in the second period changed the fate of this entire series. The Jets hit the post up 2-1, and then the Avs rattle off 3 straight goals. Arturi Lehkonen, Zach Parise, and then Josh Manson out of the box on an incredible pass from Nathan McKinnon. And I don't know how far this Avalanche team can go. It's not as good as the team that won the Cup in 2022. But I know Avs fans think if they make a run, we'll remember those 6 minutes in Winnipeg in Game 2. Because ultimately they looked like they were on the verge of going down 2-0, and the goalie questions were going to continue. And is Justus Jonanen healthy to come in for Georgiev in Game 3? And those were just distractions this team didn't need. Instead, someone was looking out for them because literally an inch or two may have changed their fate in this series. And then, of course, Georgiev stands on his head in the third period, and he had to do that. It was the biggest game of his career, is what a lot of people in Denver were saying. If he had gone out and laid another egg, he may have never played a game for the Avalanche ever again, not only in this postseason, but they would have found a different goaltender this offseason. So, yeah, I don't want to read too much into Game 2 of the playoffs. If either of these teams are going to make a run, they're going to play 15, 20, 25 more games. But it did feel like, for whatever reason, the last 6 minutes of the second period may have changed the Avalanche's fate.
Well, and it's always funny when things happen on the road as opposed to at home, because, I mean, I was reading your tweets and the rest of the Denver media and fans about the plight of Georgiev and how the fact that Annunen was sick was, man, they have to go out with him again. And listen, it wasn't like he looked completely locked in or dialed in. I mean, I think he got better as the game went on. But tonight in Ball Arena, when they dropped the puck on game number 3, I would imagine that the optimism about him can change very, very quickly if he doesn't have a good first period. Speak to the pressure on Georgiev tonight, despite the fact that he was able to kind of bounce back and win game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It was stunning to me how many Avalanche fans that know the goal is the Stanley Cup, were taking victory laps after one good game from Georgiev. It was like, you think this dude is fixed because he had one good game? Come on, guys. He was awful against Winnipeg in the game that was ultimately for home ice advantage. He got pulled after 4 goals in 16 minutes at Ball Arena. I was there. He got booed off the ice. He went to Vegas the next day, had a 3-0 lead after the third period, gave up 4 straight. They lose 4-3 in OT. And then, of course, the game 1 debacle. So I told people this, Hustler, I'm going to eat a little bit of crow, but I'm only taking a baby bite. I'm not biting the thing's head off. I'm not eating the whole crow after one good game. They make it to the Western Conference Final. They make it to the Stanley Cup Final. I'll gladly serve up a big plate of crow for my Georgiev takes. But, yeah, tonight, if it's 3-0 Jets, 12 minutes in, Jared Bednar's got a really tough decision to make, and he's right back to square one. So he needs to stack good games, not just good periods.
Do we know? I mean, I think we got a pretty good idea of Annunen's status with the fact that Holm is back with the Avalanche, is basically the E-bug, and Prosvetev's going to the Eagles to play in the American Hockey League. But with Annunen being out, I can't imagine if things go poorly. I'm sure they go to him. Like, the leash, because of one game, is not all of a sudden extended and this is back, it's Georgiev's creased. I mean, Annunen, in a lot of cases in the second half of the season, probably was the better goaltender despite Georgiev putting up a ton of wins.
Yeah, and Annunen was at morning skate this morning, which I think was huge. Bednar is Coy Bednar. You know, he's a great coach and a lovely man, and during the regular season, he'll tell you a lot. And then during the playoffs, he just goes into shutdown mode. He won't tell you anything. So he is not confirming that Annunen is the backup, but I'm with you. Reading the tea leaves, Justus Annunen will be on the bench tonight. And, yeah, if the leash was for a Chihuahua in game 1 or in game 2, you know, it's for a Beagle in game 3. It's just a little bit longer, but it ain't in a ton longer. If they struggle early, Bednar is not afraid to make a change in the net. And I guarantee you, for all the good, happy vibes after game 2, if Georgiev gets pulled tonight for any reason, performance-based, he will get booed off the ice in Denver.
Hey, Will Petersen in Denver, by the way, with us on Winnipeg Sports Talk. I have to ask you about Bednar going with kind of the nuclear option, as we called it, stacking arguably, and I think I will make this statement, the best five-man unit that you can put together in the National Hockey League with McKinnon and Rantanen, Nichushkin, Cale Makar, and Devon Toews. How often did he lean on that through the regular season? And what did it tell you that they went to that in Game 2 and really rode with it, considering the stakes of Game 2 to avoid going down 2-0?
Yeah, he didn't ride with it all that much, a lot because Nichushkin disappeared for 2 more months again, just like he did against the Kraken. And at least this time the Avalanche were honest with us and said he's in the player assistance program. And he released a statement saying he was trying to get the help he needed, quote, once and for all, which was an acknowledgement that what happened in Seattle was also some sort of substance related, for as much as the Avs wanted to deny it. And remember, there was police reports, there was 911 calls. I mean, there was people digging on this. It was not all speculation. There were some cold hard facts that there was a woman in his room who said a bad man took her passport. I'm not trying to rehash the past. I'm just trying to give your viewers perspective of Nichushkin is one of those guys. He's a very good hockey player, but he's now left the team twice abruptly, just like that. So Bednar didn't really have the choice during the regular season, I think, as much as he would have liked, but he knew he had to win Game 2 because the morale of his team after scoring 6 in Game 1 against the likely Vezina winner and not leaving with a victory was probably pretty devastated. They said all the right things, but I guarantee you, I know Nathan McKinnon well enough, he was fuming mad. They scored 6 goals and lost Game 1. So Bednar said, yeah, I'll load up the big guns in Game 2, and we're going to go find a way to win. And I agree with you. When you have those 5 on the ice, it's pretty unstoppable.
McKinnon, well, we'll get to McKinnon in a second, but just as far as Nichushkin goes, you mentioned, what happened last year in the playoffs and, hey, listen, if you got a problem, go take care of it, and that's great. But because of all that, especially what happened last year in the playoffs, I'd imagine there's a unique level of pressure on him, not only to be there, but to produce right now and help his team win hockey games, which when he's on, he's very, very good at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen, the first time for them not to tell us anything and then come to training camp and we all ask Valeri, hey, do you want to talk about this? And he says, no, nothing happened. And it's like, well, you're kind of just insulting my intelligence to tell me nothing happened because you missed 5 games while you were trying to defend the Stanley Cup and your team lost in round 1. So he didn't want to address it then. We all gave him the benefit of the doubt. And then it happened a second time. So it's kind of the fool me once, fool me twice type thing. I am with you. If people need help, I am all for them getting it. Don't get me wrong. That is priority number 1 is the human being. I just thought the Avalanche could have handled it a lot better. And then when it happened again this season, they realized they had to handle it better. And they did the second time around. I'll give the Colorado PR staff credit for that. But that being said, he is back on the ice and he will not get a third chance. This cannot happen again. He cannot disappear from the team again because of stuff off the ice he is partaking in. So just in that sense, Hustler, the pressure is on. He has to prove to the Avs that hockey is his number 1 priority. And the only reason he shouldn't be on the ice is because of injury, not because of shenanigans going on the road or anywhere else.
Hey, Will, let's just rewind a little bit to the deadline. What was your reaction and what were the conversations around Denver with, to me, the coolest trade? I mean, good, legit hockey trades of young players we don't get often. It's always picks. It's this guy's gone next year. The Middlestat for Byram deal was fascinating. I mean, just tell us a little bit about the reaction, your thoughts on that, and then how Middlestat has acquitted himself as an Av in the first 2 playoff games of his career.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've been trying to find a second-line center since Nazem Kadri left town after they won the Cup 2 years ago. And they have tried a lot of different guys, including Ryan Johansson to start this year, which was just a total bust. He was not well-liked in the room. They ultimately traded him to Philly, and Philly cut him right away. They were just done with Johansson. And I think Chris McFarland and to some extent Joe Sakic, GM, president of hockey operations, said, to get a good player, we got to give up a good player. And like you said, those trades are rare in the NHL, 1-for-1, young talent for young talent. They did not want to part with Bo and Byram, but they were so desperate that they did. I mean, remember they tried Alex Newhook at this spot last year. Like nothing had worked at the 2-line center. And Middlestat, I think the reaction is he's very, very skilled, and he's been good in these first 2 playoff games. He, of course, scored the goal to make it 7-6 with, 29 seconds left in Game 1. But Avalanche fans are greedy, and they are going to compare whoever is the 2-line center to Nazem Kadri, and that's a really unfair bar, especially considering what Kadri did in the 22 playoffs. So I'd give him a B thus far, It hasn't been a disaster, but it hasn't been up to the potential that I think folks expected when you give up a guy like Bowen Byram.
I'll tell you what, looking at the series, I mean, and we spend so much time, for obvious reasons, talking about 29 and the guys that he's rolling with. The guys that have actually been very, very effective and have been difference makers lower down in the lineup, that Colton-Wood combination along with Kiviranta, they've been a real pain in the ass for the Winnipeg Jets and have scored some big goals. And we talk a lot about the depth of Winnipeg and the Adam Lowry line, and the Jets' fourth line has scored in both games. This is a big development for the Avalanche, who are sort of regarded as a team with elite talent at the top, but maybe not as deep as some of the other teams in the Central.
Oh, a massive development, because much like Kadri, depth has been the story of, hey, the 22 team had depth, and I hate to keep comparing them to that team, but that team won the Cup just 21 months ago.
It's a good comparison.
It's a good comparison, and depth has been an issue along with two-line center. Wood and Colton definitely had moments during the regular season. Obviously, they got Wood from New Jersey, signed him to a big deal. They got Colton from Tampa, brought him over as well. They shuffled out the Evan Rodriguez's and the JT Compers of the world because they were just going to go get big deals elsewhere. And the Avalanche, frankly, thought they didn't do enough to be worthy of big deals in Denver. So they're trying something different, and I'm with you. I mean, when guys like Zach Parise, who was sitting on his couch 2 months ago, are scoring goals for you, I understand Zach Parise is one of the greatest American hockey players of all time, but that's not something, if you and I had done this show in October, I could have predicted. So I just think they got Duhaime at the trade deadline as well. There's enough depth there to hopefully take a little bit of pressure off McKinnon and Rantanen. And frankly, in Denver, we look at depth scoring as bonus scoring. And so far in the series, they've scored 11 goals. I understand one was an empty netter, but more than half of them have come from quote-unquote depth guys. That's a good sign for Jared Bednar's club.
Well, cannot wait for puck drop tonight, game number 3, and then again on Sunday afternoon, and then back in the whiteout on for game number 5. Hey, by the way, Marbles is open, and we're going to do it a little earlier so we can send people over to Sarah and Jamie at ground control. So throw exclamation mark Marbles in the chat if you want to get in on it. Well, just from a Denver sports perspective, I mean, we met years back at the Super Bowl originally. What an interesting time in Denver sports, in that the Nuggets are the defending champions, a wagon, a team that I have invested in to repeat. 2 years ago, the Avalanche are the champions, and the Denver Broncos have just been trying to dig themselves out of self-inflicted messes for the better part of the Patrick Mahomes era, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and thank you for not mentioning our baseball team. We do not talk about our baseball team in Denver.
They've been relegated.
Yes, but you have this funny sort of dichotomy going on right now. You got the Avs and Nuggets, who the goal every year right now is a parade. I mean, they are both in championship windows, and you're right. We may have 3 parades in 3 summers after having 1 parade in 21 years. Remember, Denver has all 4 major sports teams, but from 2002 to 2021, we had 1 parade. That was the 2015 Broncos. Avs didn't win a cup. Nuggets didn't win a title. And, of course, the baseball team that shall not be named did not win a World Series. So we feel like we're in the glory days of Denver sports. And I'll tell you this, Hustler, we are treading the line, particularly at my station, 104.3 The Fan and DenverSports.com. We were a lot of Broncos, right? Love the Avs and Nuggets, but this is a Broncos town. People care about the Broncos. They haven't made the playoffs in 8 years. They haven't had a winning record in 7 years. So how do you angle your coverage for what people care about? Of course people care about winners, but because so many people bleed orange and blue, it's treading that line of, hey, we're going to give you a lot of Avs and Nuggets, but even though that football team stinks, we're not going to ignore them too. Fascinating time to be a Denver sports fan, and ultimately a great time, because I fully expect we'll get a 3rd parade in 3 years this summer. Not with the Avs, I'm not predicting a cup, but the Nuggets about to sweep the Lakers again. They truly look like championship or bust going back to back.
The Joker. Where's the Joker in the annals of all-time Denver sports legends already?
He's at least 3. I promise you that, which is stunning because we've had so many good players here. I think John Elway's 1. I think Joe Sakic's 2. And I think Nikola Jokic is now the 3rd greatest athlete in the history of Denver. He gets a title this year. I definitely think he'll pass Joe Sakic. And there are some people, and I think they're crazy, but there are some people that would put him above John Elway if he gets 1 more Larry O'Brien. I think he needs to get 3-4 NBA titles to pass the great John Elway, but Obviously, your audience will know Joe Sakic, and I think the Joker is on the verge of jumping him in Denver sports history.
By the way, just to quickly touch it on the Nugs, we can't forget Captain Canada himself, Jamal Murray. I mean, that winner over AD, and I guess it was game 2, and the big comeback was perfect. And tell you what, Canada's all fired up about what our Olympic team and World Cup team might look like with Gilgeous-Alexander over in OKC and Jamal Murray. But we talked so much about the Joker, but Jamal, a huge part of that championship team and their hopes to repeat.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he's a really, really good regular season player. He is an unreal postseason player. I mean, remember, he and Joker both put up triple doubles in the NBA Finals in Miami last year in a single game. They were, I think, the first duo in NBA history to ever both have triple doubles in a game. He just shines when the lights are the brightest. And to make that shot over Anthony Davis and then get mobbed by his teammates, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. It was a special, special moment. And yeah, I hope Canada embraces the Nugs, embraces Jamal. He and SGA may be on a collision course in the Western Conference Finals, so they could have some tough decisions to make in a Nuggets Thunder series.
Well, I hope that there are really positive and wonderful things coming ahead for Denver sports fans on the hard court. Yes, not necessarily on the ice, but we'll see what happens tonight and over the course of the weekend. Will denversports.com, denversportstalk.com?
Just denversports.com, yep. And if you ever want to listen, denversports.com, you can stream 104.3 The Fan, which is our flagship radio station.
Dude, great to catch up again. Maybe we do this again later on in the series. Thanks a lot for jumping on. Have a great weekend and enjoy Game 3 tonight.
Yeah, no problem, Hustler. If this thing's going 7, which I think it might, I'll definitely hope to see you again in the next week or two.
We've got to get you on the bird down here to the Peg and return the favor down to Denver as things get real later on in the series.
I would love. I'll be at Ball Arena tonight covering the game and Game 4 on Sunday. But yeah, if you want to tell my bosses that, go for it.
we'll work on it. Folks, give Will a follow at Petersen with the T, Petersen, Will on X for great coverage on Denver sports and, of course, from Ball Arena tonight. Will, take it easy, pal. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you soon.
Good stuff. All right, there's Will Petersen. And had such a good time. We were set up right beside each other for a couple of years at the Super Bowl back in the day when he was just cutting his teeth, and he's turned into a really successful sports guy in Denver. And great to catch up with him at this time. Have a little fun with the rivalry. All right. ! Marbles. If you want to get in, we'll give a couple minutes left, and then we will get it going with the marble race. Let's get to the Coolbet lines again. Shout out to Jake and Pat for having a good time down at the Zurich. We missed them, but you can follow at Coolbet Canada. Dusty and I do daily picks and plays of the day as well. Coming up tonight, we do have the Rangers and Capitals. And we've got the Rangers at minus 170 and the Caps at plus 143. What do you think about this one, Remis? Canucks and Preds, a straight-up pick'em tonight in Nashville. Lots of pressure on Elias Petersen. Obviously, the goaltending situation in Vancouver. I think it's going to be an absolute madhouse on Broadway tonight in Music City. And I kind of like the momentum of the Preds heading into this one.
Yeah, they got the car set up, Huss, that they're going to smash with the Canucks logo on it. They're fired up in Nashville, so it's a pick'em. Money Puck, I look at their percentages. They got similar. Vancouver, 51.4%. I think everyone's kind of sleeping here on Vancouver. Didn't you see that video that someone put out cheering on Casey DeSmith? He's got this, Huss. He can do this. So I think people are sleeping on Vancouver. I might lead towards them, and this is like one of those ones that just goes back and forth all the way. But I think this is a pretty good series, and the Preds, man, they keep proving me wrong every week. So I'm curious how this series is going to end up.
All right. Other games tonight late. Oilers and Kings. The Oilers are minus 135 favorites. The Kings plus 114. And the Jets and Avalanche, no surprise. Jets plus 135. Dogs on the road. Avalanche minus 159. Total in this game is 6.5. That total started out at 5.5, if you recall, and I think after what we've seen in the first couple of games, not surprised that it has gone up. I'll quickly give you the lines for tomorrow's games, which are all up. The Canes can sweep the Islanders. We're all hoping they do, and we might get an earlier game on Tuesday. Carolina minus 180, Islanders plus 152. The Panthers can sweep the Lightning with a win. They're road favorites, minus 119. Tampa plus 102. Bruins and Leafs tomorrow in Toronto. Leafs need to win to tie the series up and avoid going down 3-2. Toronto, a slight favorite, minus 115. Boston, minus 103. And the Dallas Stars facing a 3-0 deficit if they can't win are even money, and the Golden Knights, minus 117. Those three games, Florida, Tampa, Boston, Toronto, Dallas, Vegas, incredibly tight lines. We had some fun in the lock shop with Dusty back today, and we put together a couple parlays for the weekend. Tonight, we've got the New York Rangers to win, the Nashville Predators to win, and the Edmonton Oilers to win. I wanted to keep the Jets off. Just let's not deal with the Jets in the partner parlay. We've got those three together. That was plus 438 when we did it. They boosted it to plus 500, so 5-1. That's available in the Coolbet exclusives. And then I got one tomorrow, the Ride with Huss. Leafs to win, Hurricanes to win, Dallas Stars to win. That one was plus 480 or so. It's boosted to plus 550. Both available right now in the Coolbet exclusives. If you haven't played a Coolbet before, don't forget you can use the promo code WST when you make your first deposit for a 100% bonus up to $200 on that first deposit. Who do we like for goal scorers tonight, Reem? I'm thinking Velarde. We need one from 13 tonight. And somebody on the second line, anybody on the second line would make me quite happy as well.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think Velarde's a solid pick. If you want to pick shots on goal, Nikolai Ehlers' number is kind of low. And I wonder if that line too, Huss, is going to get the better matchup here in Denver instead of at home. Sometimes I find line 2 does better for that reason. On the road, just around the league, we need something from those guys. We haven't shown up yet, and I don't think that's something that's going to last for the entire series. But it is Game 3 time to get it together, and I would like Velarde to score, but I like the Nikolai Ehlers shot prop if you're going to say that.
Just Jets goal scoring props if you're wanting him to score. Kyle Connor plus 169, Scheif plus 210, Toffoli plus 240, Velarde plus 245, Monahan plus 275, Ehlers plus 295, Nino Niederreiter plus 375, and where's Adam Lowry? Plus 560 tonight. I do like I have a feeling of a big game coming up for that Lowry line as well. All right, let's do this marble race, and then we'll send everybody over to a little ground control with Sarah and Jamie.
Sure.
Friday afternoons, gang. You know how this works. You put in exclamation mark marbles. We give you a marble. We do a race. The winner gets an exclusive WST hoodie. Shout out to our friends at Shipham and Associates for working with us and sponsoring the hoodies. But we do not do a marble race before we hear one of the many Marbles theme songs put together by the maestro, Tristan Rivers Music. Fire away, Reem. There we go. A little yacht rock version by Tristan Rivers Music. And the marble race is coming up. And again, we're going to send everyone over. We're going to have one of our biggest raids of all time over to Jets ground control with Sarah and JT coming up in just a minute when we finish this up. How's everybody feeling? Remis is going to get that ready. Let's do another why not question of the day for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Predictions in the chat. Tonight's game. Game 3. Jets Avs. 9 p.m. We want some predictions here. Jets going to get this one. Will they get one this weekend? Which is job number 1. Whether it's tonight, whether it's Saturday, let us know. I like MC Stormies. MC Stormies in on the Jets. Reg Dunlop, not good. Nervous. Hey, nervous is good. Nervous is good. It's the opportunity to be nervous, the opportunity to be anxious. This is why you play 82 games, to be in the playoffs, to go up against the best in the league, and the Jets have that opportunity to take a 2-1 series lead tonight if they can get a win. They've been very good on the road all year. This is a team that basically had identical records away from home and at Canada Life Center. Split at home. Time to get one on the road. And I will say this. We've talked a lot about Hellebuck needing to step up his game. I think he has a big, big weekend coming up. And I know he's Mr. Matinee, but let's not leave it till Sunday. Let's see a great one tonight and get that momentum back that the Avalanche took in 6 minutes at the end of the second period in front of 15,000 white-clad maniacs at Canada Life Center. Wicked John, 4-0 Jets. Oh, my God. How good of a weekend would that be if we got that tonight? Be a heck of a way to start. Also interested, just while Remis gets things ready to go, what's everyone doing for the game tonight? You're gonna go out? You're gonna hit BP? Gonna hit a local bar? Or are you setting it up in the cave at home with some friends and family to watch the game? Let us know in the chat as well. Rima, where are we going today? We've gone to some wild tracks as of late.
Okay, I just got a really wild one. We have 284 marbles as well. I put you in there. This one is called, I got to write them down after I test them because I do them and then forget. It's called Ideal Adventurous Construction.
That's nice. Oh, can we put a salmon shirt in?
Oh, no.
If you've already got it in, don't worry about it.
I've already got it. I'm not
Okay,
rushing.
okay.
You know what? I'm kind of worried. All this publicity this guy is getting, and, we haven't helped that, but I'm worried that more people are going to be like, I want attention too, and show up in some crazy thing that's not white, and then it ruins this beautiful thing that we have. So
it's true.
We should, I don't want to, I put out that reel because it was funny of us talking about it.
I like where you're going with this. Salmon shirt, banned.
It's banned. We're done.
It's whiteout season in Winnipeg. No salmon shirts for crying out loud.
Look,
not even today over the weekend.
We did it. We talked about it, but we're moving on. I don't want anyone out there to get any funny ideas and think, I'm going to get on TV too. So we're done. It's over. We got 284 marble. I did throw in one for Eric Howardchuk, who was on earlier this week. That was a great conversation with him, and I see him have such a great time in the whiteout for his first experience.
Pick up your Ducky's Dills at your local Red River Co-op or Matola Grocery down in the Hargrave Market. A little extra plug for our pal Eric and the pickles from the family named after Ducky. All right, let's do this.
Okay, it's called, this is a good one. It's a bit longer. Ideal Adventurous Construction.
I like it.
284 marbles. Someone said I should put one in for Bob Cole. I should, but I forgot. But respect Bob Cole.
Yes. The marble race is dedicated to Bob Cole.
Yes, I think we should do that. A lot of great comments. John Cooper, after the game, said it was like the only time he ever got starstruck as a coach. So, again, a lot of great tributes. A lot of great tributes.
I see Jet Oil Tom's going to BP Taylor at one of the Whiteout parties. That'll be great. You know what? You might see me there tonight, I think, actually.
Illegal Curve, they're doing a show from there.
Oh, nice. They're doing the post game there?
Yeah, they're having a thing there, so they're doing that. I'll probably be at home watching it because Connor and I are going to do this video, and I find when I go to stuff like that, I don't actually watch the game. I'm just talking to people, so I want to be focused and tune in, late tonight, like 2 a.m., me and Connor will have a post-game recap. So
exactly. Wake up in the morning, and in your feed, you will have the WST post-game report with Connor Rabchak and Michael Remis. All right. The ideal adventurous construction is the marble race. We're going to do this and then head over to ground control. This is a Go Jets Go Game 3 marble race dedicated to Bob Cole. R.I.P. Bob, the GOAT. Let's do it, Remo. Good luck to everybody to get across first and win the exclusive WST hoodie from our friends over at Shipham & Associates. We are off. A Plinko start on this course today. Ooh, Eric Howarchuk with a nice start. Val George, Eric Howarchuk, Ray. Right up there near the top. Mitch Razanzoff taking a little bit of a lead. Ray and Eric Howarchuk right behind. This would be wild if Eric Howarchuk won the marble race. I think everyone wants to win themselves, but that would be a great sign, I think, for today. Oh, and waiters like the Leafs getting bounced. Actually, I'm betting on the Leafs tomorrow, so hopefully that won't be the case. Yeah, we're seeing some eliminations right now. Mitch Razanzoff still first right now. Ray, Eric Howarchuk, D Sizzle, Miller Time are in the lead, and we continue to lose marbles. Some major casualties so far. All right, I guess there's a speed thing. You really get ripped around this thing fast. But Mitch is still in first place. Oh, there's our buddy Sam Crow making a move on the other side. Where did Sam Crow come from? Wayne Gretzky as well. Met Gretzky at the last WST game, I believe. So we've got Mitch on the bottom. The guys on the top are going into this sphere, the spinning sphere. But it looks like it's kind of slow moving on the bottom right now. Who's going to get out first? Still seeing a few marbles getting banged out. All right, Sam Crow now in first. Sam Crow looking very, very good, and a bit of a lead. Poopy Pants is back there. Trevor Frost, Gretzky, Hockey Lover, and Mitch Razanzoff now are on this right side. But it's Sam Crow and Trevor Frost, although they have hit a bit of a. Looks like they've hit a stop sign, and are getting some. Well, now a whole bunch of marbles have caught up. Caitlin what is up, Caitlin? You're in the mix right now. Doug Zapp, Poopy Pants, Uncle Dizzo as well. Hockey Lover on the bottom. Hockey Lover on the bottom might sort of be taking it right now. This is an interesting course because it's quite different on either side. Oh, the top marbles have come down. Sam Crow, Trevor Frost, Doug Zapp, Corey O, Steph B. Hi, Steph.
Here, and before we go, this is got to go through the uprights on this winner, so watch out for the finish here. It's going through the uprights. You'll
Excellent. See. Robert Paul now in the lead. Brass Bonanza as well. Who is it going to be? SK, Holy Smoly, Poopy Pants, Trevor Frost. They're all in the mix right now. We've got SK on the bottom. Brass Bonanza with this slight lead. Who is going to get kicked through the field goal first? It looks like it's going to be SK. SK, congratulations. Another WST regular getting the win. I believe that's the first time ever for SK. SK, you know what to do. Hit us up with a email, winnipegsportstalk@gmail.com. Let us know what size you are in the hoodie. Hopefully we've got your size, and we'll make arrangements to get you hooked up. Top 10, SK. Holy Smoly in second. Mike Wynn. Shout out Section 316. Mike Wynn, third. Corey O, fourth. Kelster, fifth. Steph B, sixth. Oh, Ross Ransby. Nice work, Roscoe. A top 10 finish, 7th. It's going to be a tick for Ross in our head-to-head battle. Trevor Frost in 8th, John D in 9th, and Doug Zapp in 10th. All right, SK, congratulations. Nicely done. Remo, let's do a quick run through the results. And again, gang, don't go anywhere. If you're with us live on YouTube, we're about to drop the biggest raid in WST history. I want everybody rolling in and just dropping a WST or Go Jets Go, something in the chat that we sent everybody there for a Jamie and our good friend Sarah Orleski. We'll just run down so people can check out where they went. I see Candace Jane, all caps Kyle. Pretty nice run. Mike Cochran, Mark and Fanasuk, Lock Shop. What's up, Mark? Let's get it this weekend. Northside Sandwich, that's an ESTer, I believe. What's up, Northside? Another regular in the Lock Shop. We've got, there's the Comet, Elliot, Cosmic Tales MB, my neighbor. Hi there. Eric Howardchuk finished 74th. He was right there for a long time. Matt Hyman, Jen Cooley. Hi, Jen. Big Daddy Brent, the Gitch Lishka, Sean Westman, Luca Harabchak. Luca, Connor's brother. How are you? There's Phyllis, Tyson Ducharme, Paul Carr, Lego Guy. And then everybody else got thrown over the top rope and was a DNF. Fun race, though. Pretty wild course. We haven't had one that's that different from top to bottom. Yeah, I got bounced. I think the Bozeman got bounced as well. Everybody else in. All right, gang, that is going to do it for us. We're going to send you over to ground control with Jamie and Sarah. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to execute the raid. And everyone's going to throw something into the chat. Say, WST sent me, Go Jets Go, WST ready for the weekend, whatever you want. But we want to let them know that we are absolutely going to join Jamie and Sarah. So that's a special edition of Ground Control. It's on live right now. You don't need to do anything. If you're with us on YouTube, we're going to send you right there. Thanks to Will Petersen, Brandon Rewucki, Scott Billeck, everyone listening on the pod, everyone that joined us live today, all of our sponsors. Vibes are high again. Let's get it tonight, 9 p.m. puck drop, Sunday afternoon as well. Keep an eye out on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel for extra content throughout the weekend, including tomorrow morning from Remis and Connor. And most of all, wherever you are tonight, enjoy the game. Let's do, on the way out, the white shades are on.
Nice.
The white shades are on. The towel's in effect. It's time to bring it back to the peg with a win starting tonight in Game 3. Go Jets Go. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday with our next regularly scheduled show at 1 p.m. Now, off to see Jamie and Sarah at NHL Jets Ground Control.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for